All right. I'm interrupting this game for an important announcement. This guy, Ben Davidson.
Shell surge, I'm going to explain it in just a moment. And it's a very good thing that I'm pretty sure that that's what it was, because if that was an L shell surge,
L
I'm going to
cell
explain it
surge.
in just a
L
moment.
is that thing. L cell surge.
We'd be in big trouble. So, in order to explain the L shell surge, give me a moment here.
Right. L cell surge.
All right.
Guy's like 2% body fat. Crazy.
We've got the Earth. It's a perfect circle, obviously. You know, we've got the...
This is the key to the actual pole shift. What he's going to describe right now is what I couldn't find for a previous video I did. Because it's 100% chance that we're going to lose electricity. 100%. It's just a matter of time. It's sooner rather than later. It's the Carrington event from 1859. But today, when we're totally electrified, not just, you know, a Morse code repeater and a bunch of wires. And that's about all the electronics we had back then. So that'll happen. Now, what he's going to describe here is the key to the actual pole shift, and the how the crust unlocks, and the actual poles will move. The crust will move 90 degrees. The North Pole will be here. The South Pole will be here. And this will be the new, what's up here and what's down here will be the new North Pole and new South Pole. So it's going to go like this. And that's what's going to destroy and kill most people. By the way, he just got this, his ability to live stream. This was a live stream video that he did. And it's only 15 minutes long. 17. And they took his ability to live stream away, and he wasn't doing anything salty. He wasn't being a jerk or anything. He was just explaining this, and this is the key to the disaster, is what he's going to describe here.
Magnetic fields that come out from the polar region, magnetic poles, and they wrap around the whole planet. Right. But there's also those smaller ones, right? That are inside of the bigger one. And they don't connect to the polar region, they connect at different latitudes. Now, these are the L shells, okay? L shells. And it's not like, oh, there's one there and there's a gap. It's a continuous thing. It's just that, you know, they like to denote them, you know, like L1, L2, L3, L4 in terms of radial distance away from the center of the Earth. Now, the reason this is important is because these probably are the last things that should take energetic surging from space weather before we can say, nope, the magnetic field's toast. So are we. So is our civilization. Prepare for the next stage of Earth, kind of thing. Let's say the sun's over there. You know what? We'll just use this. I have this here for a reason. So let's say this is the sun. All right. So it's pumping stuff out this way. And by the way, that's what that little red light thing is on there. You see, it disappears if I put my hand in front of it. And no, I don't know how to get rid of that glare. Just stop being a baby. When it fires something at us like that, it compresses these shells. Now, the modeling for...
What is it firing? It is firing... The sun's magnetic field is weakening, the same as ours. And what we're going through, and what started in 1859 was our traverse across the galactic current sheet. And the galactic current sheet is this charged particle area where every magnetic field has this sine wave going across. So if it starts if this is the center of the galaxy, it's a big black hole, and it's spinning. A magnet spinning will produce big sine waves like this, and then the further out they go, the more they go like this. They're smaller, and I think it's called amplitude when they're closer together. That distance between each sheet, as you know, in our place in the galaxy, is approximately 6,000 or 12,000 years in time. So when it's going like this, and we're sitting over here, we're this little doorknob, and it's going like this, like if that's right in the center of one of the troughs, and then it could be in the center of one of the highs, like a wave like that. So as that current sheet is moving, we're sitting here, just, you know, our solar system spinning around, and it enters one of those current sheets, whether it's going up or whether it's going down, and that's every 6,000 years. All right, so there's a lot of particles, it's a lot of dust, space dust. That's where it all goes, is in the current sheet. And now we're into a area of space where there's a lot more dust. Now, if there's a lot more dust, normally the sun, let's say that's the sun. I'm just using it as an example. His example, that's the Earth. If that's the sun, and its magnetic field is weakening, all that dust is going to get attracted to the sun. The sun can't push it away anymore. So that creates a layer and a dimming of the sun. What's interesting is the UK right now is trying to tell the public that they're going to dim the sun for whatever reason. They got this plan to spray, you know, stuff in the air to dim the sun, and you just look that up right now, and the crazy shit going on in the UK. So they're basically saying, oh, this is the reason the sun is fading, is we're doing it. But it's not. The sun is going to dim, but it's not because the fucking UK is doing this. This is not. That's not why. The UK is not dimming the sun. They can't do that on the Earth, in the skies. I mean, do you know how much that would take? Anyway, so my point is this: as it weakens, the magnetic field is weakening on the sun, same as on the Earth. That dust collects on the sun and makes it dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, and it turns red. And then eventually, there's so much material on the sun, it turns black. And I don't know how long it's going to stay that way. But what happens is you have all that crap on the sun, and this is a normal cycle. This is what every sun goes through. This is what every solar system goes through. It goes through these sheets, the galactic sheet. It goes in, and there's a micronova that happens. And what happens is it's energy that blows off all that material. It's one big huge CME, and it blows it out into the solar system. And that's why they went to the moon, was to look for the evidence. And that's where they found all these little glass beads, and they'll talk about that. And that's why they call it the what do you call it? Apollo. Apollo is the god of the sun god or whatever. That's Apollo. The Apollo missions were missions to go to the sun and find this out. The evidence is there, and the recordings are there of what the astronauts are finding. So look for that. But that is the micronova, and that goes boom. Now we're already we're already in the dark, by the way. When this happens, we don't have electricity because of the Carrington event. That's in 1859. As we're going through this current sheet, we're going to get to the center of the current sheet, and approximately there is where we're going to have this EMP basically that hits the earth and knocks out our power. So we won't electricity, everything. It's going away, guys. 100% chance that's going to happen. What he says here is the part I'm skeptical about. Let's listen.
Carrington event suggests we almost got compression down to the lowest level of L shell.
When we first started going through the sheet was the Carrington event in 1859. It hit the earth so hard it knocked out the telegraph system. So that's what he's saying.
Almost. And if we had, the Carrington event would have been far worse than it actually was. So let me get rid of some of these here so I can just sort of paint a little picture. We can focus on this. Let's say we get a compression event down to the lowest level L shell. Then all of a sudden, it starts to look like that. Except it's containing all of the energy from the coronal mass ejection, not to mention whatever Van Allen relativistic electrons have been pushed into that layer as well. Now, here's where it gets scary. Normally, the electrons and the protons, the energy, can just take these fields toward the polar region. But that's just because this is like, it's like a conduit. It's might as well be in a copper wire. You get too much compression and too much energy in there, and all of a sudden it wants to strike down into the earth. That would be the thunderbolt of the gods, the cosmic thunderbolt, what may have created Valles Marineris on Mars, what may have created the Grand Canyon, because water doesn't cut those different.
That's interesting. The Mars, the big scar on Mars, that could have been a coronal mass ejection, and Mars did not have the magnetic field to get, put it, basically. When it hit Mars, when the CME, coronal mass ejection, hit Mars, Mars was so weak, it blew off the oceans. It struck the planet and made that big scar. That was lightning that hit the planet. And you can see how much power that is. Now, there's some scars over by the pyramids in Egypt, in the ground. He'll show you in his homework videos. Do the homework right here. But that's evidence of the scars. Now, I don't know if what he's saying about the Grand Canyon is true. I haven't thought about that until now.
Rocks in a straight line. There should be cutting, and then there should be like a giant tabletop in the middle of the Grand Canyon, because one layer literally erodes 1,000 times slower than the layer above it. So why didn't this layer just get eroded back and leaving it? No, it was carved all at once. And that's basically the zenith of the disaster.
Right.
The strike point on that. And when it actually bolts down on either side of it, you've got the squatter man. And on the top, the fan up. This is what Anthony Peratt.
I think he's talking about hieroglyphics. I think the stone pictures that were made from the last time this happened. Now, here's what's interesting. In the last 12,000 years ago, when it happened, the worst place that got hit, the worst suffering that happened, was in North America. What it does is every 12,000 years, the 6,000 year one is not too bad. That's just the flood of Noah. The one 12,000 years ago was the one where North America was devastated. There was, and think about it. If you've got North America over here and you've got Europe over here, and Europe was the place to be back 12,000 years ago. Now, if this thing hit North America and created the Grand Canyon with the strike, that would have devastated every living being on the face of the continent. And when the crust unlocked and it went from here to here, that the North America would have taken the brunt of the entire ocean going over it and destroying everything. So if you think about it, now why is it that the Indians that we encountered over here, the Native Americans, were still living in teepees? They were still hunter-gatherer over here, and we're like, we got big ships, we got navies, we've got all this other technology and all the industry and everything that came out from originally from Europe. Europe was the one that advanced. It was Rome. It was Egypt. It was Africa. It was, which is Egypt. You have all those people advanced, so much more advanced than everybody over here and everybody down here in South America, North America and South America. They were all indigenous tribes. And, that's what happened in 12,000 years ago. And that's why they were still hunter-gatherers, is they just hadn't recovered from the devastation of the last huge, 12,000 year cycle that hit that area. So that makes sense to me. That part of this makes sense.
Has written dozens of papers about. This is the symbol in the sky. And I think that, well, first of all, people were questioning why it looked like the energy was going up. That was actually what scared me for a little bit in thinking that. So Earth's magnetic field, without getting too complicated, the flow is south to north, okay? That's the flow of Earth's magnetic field. After the pole shift, perhaps that's not going to be the same, but for right now, the fields flow south to north. So if that was an L-shell surge, I would expect to be seeing it go to the north. And that's infinitely better than it striking down into the planet. Luckily, I do think that was the new methane fuel release from a Chinese rocket launch. But that's where we're headed. That's where we're headed as our magnetic field weakens, and if the sun just decides it's had enough of our nonsense.
So what he's talking about is this white streak across the sky, and nobody didn't know what it was. It's basically a methane release from a Chinese rocket. That's what that was. And you go to the previous videos, he'll show you.
So, Jimmy Joe, thank you for that teal pair. Let me scroll up real quickly. So that's where we are. We continue to see, and I'm pretty sure that that blackout I was mentioning earlier, that was in the Balkans, Macedonia area. Every single time we get one of these, it really...
The blackout in Europe that knocked out power to several countries, that was the... oh God, I can't remember the names of this stuff, but it's the solar wind getting through the weakened magnetic field, and it turns into plasma when it enters the atmosphere and hits these power stations, and that knocked out power to all this And so we're going to see increasing power outages because we're getting plasma leaks from the solar wind because our magnetic field is weak.
We get one of these little solar storms. It is having an outsized impact. The G1s are acting like G3, G4s.
The size.
Which is supposed to be 100 to 1,000 times more powerful.
Intensity.
So everything we've said up to the last couple of days still holds. It's still happening. We could use some help. But in terms of that white streak in the sky, I'm pretty sure that was actually one of the rocket launches, and we should all be thrilled that that is the case. Is this thing not even on? Wait, well, my microphone's not even working. It's just picking it up through the computer. We're just going to move that.
That's fine.
Okay, so I suppose now that I have said what I needed to say, and you guys all know the rules, let's go ahead. Let's see what kind of questions we got here. The computer mic is fine. All right. If you guys can hear me just fine, then I'll just put that $300 waste of plastic and metal on the ground there. Sean, what's up? Thank you. I like that hippo thing. That's cool looking. Man, E-Party, you're asking to get blanked by one of the moderators. It's not even going to be me that does it, but if they blank you, you're never going to be able to comment again. It is a permanent ban. You break these rules, the moderator...
Yeah, you see, this is why I think YouTube just took away his ability to live stream. It's this stuff that it's kind of a threat. He's being threatening, and some, little twink over at YouTube doesn't like it, so they're talking to their bosses, and their bosses are watching it, and they say, oh, he thinks he has so much power over his audience. Well, guess what? We're not going to let him live stream anymore.
We're probably going to ban you for life. If you don't care,
they're banning him for
say whatever you want.
So
it's fine.
So you can't.
I'd like to think we could get a little bit more of a productive conversation going, more productive.
It's not a bad threat. I mean, he's not being really salty, but he does this all the time. If you're not following all these rules, he'll point it out, and lots of people will ask this question, like Yellowstone, is it going to blow sometime, or where's the best location? Where's the best location? Where's the best location? He gets this all the time, and then he's newly single. His wife divorced him. His wife was cheating on him and had a baby with another man over in Denver. That's why he's always saying Denver sucks. And this has been going on for 5 years. So there's a video of him really, it hurt him bad. And this whole thing almost went away that weekend. But anyway.
Questions? See what kind of information you can yank out of here. Yeah. What do I think about a binary star as the cause of the pole shift? 0% chance that is the case.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a binary star. That was the old theory, that the binary star, one star starts leaching material over to the other star, and that's what causes the micronova. All that material gets put into the other stars on the binary star system. So yeah, you can talk about Planet X and Nibiru and all that crap, that we actually do have a binary star system, but it's only visible on infrared, because I forgot why. Anyway, that's the old 2012 pole shift Mayan calendar crap.
0% chance that is the case. I realize there's a lot of people talking about it online. They don't understand what they're talking about. Not even close.
Nope, they don't.
What's up with the huge black spot?
Okay, so that I asked a question in the chat, in the comments. I didn't see the live stream, but this just happened. So that wasn't my comment, but I was just thinking today, the black coronal hole, they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, the coronal hole right now, if this is the sun, it's like this much. It's huge. And I got thinking, okay, what if the entire sun becomes a coronal hole? What does that do? What happens? That was my question. So he's acting like he doesn't know what he means, and I knew when he said that question, I knew exactly what the guy meant, the questioner. So don't be an ass. I mean, don't be a jerk.
Welcome to Sunspot Maximum, the coronal. That's actually the sun's.
So anyway, that's all I wanted to show you. That's Space Weather News.